Hey y'all, I found an article on the National Library of Medicine. It was wrote by a group of authors in 2020, and it is titled Mindfulness and Behavior Change. It is a systematic review of the theoretical model of mindfulness and how it integrates motivation and learning with cognitive, emotional, and self-regulated processes. This systematic review focuses strictly on mindfulness in context and defines and describes that in a clinical psychiatric care setting. It does go on to explain how these mindfulness-based interventions have proven effective in different areas such as high-risk behaviors, mental health, physical health, trauma, and dealing with chronic disease. There is a wide body of knowledge we have gained through self-regulation processes and mindfulness meditation and how it can help reduce toxic, harmful behaviors. It can promote self-management of chronic disease and healthier behaviors in general. This also looks at physical and mental health conditions. This review focuses on areas that are strongest with evidence supporting mindfulness-based intervention on neurobiological mechanisms of self-regulation. It looked at things like rumination, self-efficacy, attention and cognitive control. Also, it ties in with that motivation and learning aspect. This idea of mindfulness-based intervention is a non-judgmental awareness of the present moment, and this non-bias awareness can fuel intrinsic motivation needed to support positive behavior change. One of the things I found really cool from this article was it reviewed many randomized controlled trials, and even at the end of all that, these authors quoted here, as one begins to pay attention, consistent curiosity and kind awareness allows greater goal-driven control based on values, increased levels of internalized motivation, greater access to intrinsic motivation, less reliance on stimulus-driven conditioning, and evaluative negative feedback loops, eventually unwinding associative learning related to harmful behaviors. I found this really cool because for me, it is bridging that gap between holistic health and Western science. And I think we are beginning to see the scientific evidence supporting these interventions in numerous clinical settings. One of the strengths of this study is that we have a large body of knowledge on self-regulation and neural mechanics for motivation and learning. Mindfulness-based interventions fall into this category, so we have the knowledge available to understand how the processes work. One of the weaknesses I found was that this research focuses on unjustifiably represents the well-educated, white, Caucasian, economically advantaged individuals. It doesn't necessarily look at those ethno-racial groups, immigrant groups, trauma survivors, those with the burden of chronic conditions, and I really think this limitation was huge on a study like this. With that said, I do think this study, again, bridges that gap between holistic health and modern science, and I would love to see this research expanded to those areas that it could be used in a wider range of care for those suffering from trauma, abuse, substance abuse, addiction, sexual behaviors, even addressing minorities and lower income populations as well. So I think there were some really great strengths in this study and some weaknesses that I think could provide a better research. I definitely think this article aligns with my views on behavior change. I myself have used mindfulness-based interventions throughout my sobriety and my addiction, or my addictive recovery. And they're very helpful. They can be done anywhere from doing the dishes to exercising to taking 10 minutes and just sitting quietly and or noticing facial expressions when you're talking to your children. So I think this review really shows the importance of these techniques that we've maybe since forgotten, since pharmaceutical medicine has become so huge. Um, I'm going to post the link to this article at the end and on the discussion board, also my reference. So Look forward to everyone on the board, and stay well. Thanks.